History was made in the BVI during this year's general election as records were reported in the areas of the number of candidates running for election, the number of registered voters going to the polls, and the number of votes received by an at-large representative, as Dr. Orlando Smith received a total of 5,081 votes. The previous record for the highest number of votes received by a candidate was also held by Dr. Orlando Smith in 2003, when he received 4,300 votes. Each district saw growth in the number of registered voters, and there were also increases in the turnout at the polls. In the 3rd district, one voter made a call for more polling stations to accommodate the growing number of voters, as some persons were in line for up to 2 hours.
The process was fast, but the length of time you have to wait in line, I stayed here for 2 hours. We need to, the next election, we need to have at least 2 polling stations. Because this district, we have the most voters in numbers, and again, we had the most newly registered voters.
Other persons speaking with JTV News on election day were happy to see the amount of people who turned out to vote. And while some complained about the long lines, some didn't mind the wait.
Oh, well, I've been here probably for an hour, but it was all right. I mean, you know, people get a little patient, but other than that, it went well.
Well, we was here from like about 10 in the morning, and we just finished, so it was a good hour and a half or so. But it was good, though.
About an hour to vote, and it was not long. And it wasn't that hot. It was I came prepared with my umbrella in case the sun was too hot or in case it rained.
Well, the line, it take a lot of time. You know, a lot of people from this morning from 5 o'clock. You know, so people do it well. You know, people want change.
The line was long because I arrived here about 9:45 and I didn't get in after 12.
The line was long. I was here about 2 hours. Yeah.
The wait wasn't too long, wasn't too bad at all. It moves in a good way.
The polls were opened at 6 a.m. on November 7th, and there were reports of stations in the 8th district running out of ballot paper. The stations were closed at 6 p.m., but there were scores of people still waiting in line in many of the stations to cast their votes by the time the gates were closed. JTV Channel 55 brought you live coverage of the 2011 general election results throughout Monday night as the ballot counting continued in the various districts.
Kedrick Pickering. Alan Whitley.
Dancia Ben. Bevis Sylvester.
JTV live coverage continued from the election headquarters at the Cultural Center, where the at-large numbers were being tallied.
We have set up a live feed in the Cultural Center so we can bring the numbers to you by video now as well. The Cultural Center is now really the center of where things are going on. So this is where most of the votes are coming in from all of the districts.
So I think there are a few glitches this first time around in getting in with this particular process. The idea being that the counts will be done in the districts and the results as they come in will be reported to the Cultural Center and then posted on a board there. Of course, it's important for us to have some idea of which districts have been counted, which polling stations in particular districts have been counted, in order to look at where the candidates are in terms of their totals, and also to analyze the relative strengths of candidates relative to which party was successful in that particular district, whether it be VIP or NDP as the case may be. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be happening, because what they're doing is counting, and that information is then reported to the central location.
It's not being separated out. It's not being broken down in those polling stations as the district votes were being broken down.
Indeed, yes. And how far advanced the count is, how much, how long it's likely to take. We're hoping it will take a shorter period, as we say.
The final results on Tuesday morning, the NDP 9 seats and VIP 4 seats were announced by election officer Juliet Penn at the Cultural Center just after 10 a.m. live here on JTV Channel 55.